So, good evening, good morning, depending upon where you are. I am going to give a brief overview on the Oracle Auto Upgrade utility. This Oracle Database Auto Upgrade utility automates the process of doing DB upgrades, and I found it to be very useful, especially when you are doing lots of upgrades, which, anyways, are coming to you because we are living in now October 2020, and many different versions of Oracle are going to get out of support list unless you sign for an extended period contract. So you would be forced to do version upgrades for 12c release 1, 12c release 2, and then it also makes sense you also upgrade 18c's back to 19c because 19c Oracle database is a long term supported version. So with so many upgrades sitting on your head, how do we automate the process of doing upgrades so that with minimal manual intervention, lots of upgrades can be done in no time? And hence, I am exploring the topic called as Oracle Database Auto Upgrade. So, have a look at these graphics also, which I deliberately put in as uh, a comic meme to indicate an auto upgrade. So, welcome back. I am Satish Lodav. I am working as a senior IT architect, and the topic for today's discussion is Oracle Database Auto Upgrade. Here's a quick summary about me. If you want to know more about uh, the presenter, then here are some of the details. I won't take much time to go through it. Let's come back to the agenda. So, we are going to talk about what is an auto upgrade, what all auto upgrade modes are, what auto upgrade modes and their stages are, and then we'll talk about the auto upgrade workflow, the auto upgrade configuration files, the auto upgrade configuration parameters which are present in the configuration files. Those parameters are global parameter and local parameters, what they are, what sense they make during your auto upgrade process, and then the auto upgrade configuration options. I'm also going to look at where to look for troubleshooting log files. So we'll talk about where the auto upgrade utility generates the log files, the locations, and then using auto upgrade for upgrading non-CDB to PDB architecture. Then what is the auto upgrade console? How do you interact with an auto upgrade utility? And lastly, I'm going to run through a very interesting auto upgrade demo. I called this demo with a name as Auto Upgrade Warzone. That's because it's really fun when I start this demo. What I'm going to show you is how do you upgrade Oracle 11g release 2, 12.1, 12.2 and 18c databases, which are all non-CDB databases in my demo environment. We are going to upgrade them all in a single shot using one single auto upgrade utility instance. All of them will upgrade it to 19c, that too in a PDB architecture. And that's why the name that I felt appropriate would be an upgrade war zone. So 4 different databases from non-CDB architecture to PDB, and then somebody might wonder why I might have chosen from a non-CDB to PDB. That's because Oracle 19c would be the last version where non-CDB architecture will be supported. Going forward, starting from 20c, Oracle has already put a deprecation notice for the old non-CDB architecture, so it makes sense to go on to pluggable databases. Moreover, it's a way to consolidate without paying any extra money. You can have up to 3 user created pluggable databases sitting in a container database, and that too you don't have to purchase any multi-tenancy options pack provided you stay below the number 3 or below 3. So let's get on directly into the discussion of what is the auto upgrade utility. In short, if I want to describe an auto upgrade utility, is a tool that Oracle developed, is a Java tool. It comes in a form of a jar file. So this utility identifies issues before you do upgrades. It also helps you in performing pre and post upgrade actions. It also helps you run the actual upgrade process and then performing the post upgrade actions, and at the end of it, it starts the upgraded Oracle databases. So all with a single tool. Otherwise, a database upgrade, especially if you do it using manual steps, is pretty painful, because traditionally we have to log on to the source database, generate a pre-upgrade information, by analyzing the source database, find out the do's and don'ts, what is allowed, what is not allowed, and then make sure that those things which are not allowed in the source database have been already taken care of. Example, if you are an older version of Apex schema sitting in your source database, and if you are not using Apex, then you are supposed to deinstall it. If you are using Apex, then you are supposed to do an upgrade of that Apex schema before the actual DB upgrade happens. If there are objects in the recycle bin, you are supposed to purge those objects from the recycle bin of the source database. If there are any missing dictionary statistics, then you are also supposed to capture those dictionary statistics. So lots of things are there. Then we switch the database from old home to new home. Then we begin the upgrade, and then comes the if yours is a non-CDB architecture, you would upgrade it to non-CDB to the latest version, and then plug that database as a pluggable database PDB inside some CDB container. So lots of steps. Time zone upgrades are also required. So your database comes with a certain version of time zone files, and as part of the upgrade, it is always recommended that you go on to the supported time zone versions, which we do typically after the database upgrade has finished. Then we validate that all the upgrade has gone through, compiling the invalid objects, and many different things are involved. With auto upgrade, the entire process from start to end is completely automated. It's a command line utility, it's a Java based utility, which will make sure that everything from start to end has been taken care. For many things, if Oracle finds that the source database has some non-compliances, then to make sure all those non-compliances are fixed, many of those pre-upgrade tasks are having some fix-ups. Those fix-ups would automatically fix all of them, mostly without a user's intervention. Now somebody said, how is it possible that it takes care of all the uh, pre-upgrade non-compliances by providing fix-ups? Yes, obviously, no one can take care of all the pre-upgrade fixes without a human intervention. As an example, imagine that I have an old version of an Apex schema. Now, at the max, what the upgrade utility can tell me is there's a non-compliance. You are using a old version of Apex. Either you upgrade it before the actual DB upgrade begins, or if you are not using Apex at all and it was installed as part of the vanilla database creation that you did back in 11G or 12C release 1 days, then you get rid of that schema because you don't need it anyways. So the whole point is, not all the fixes for pre-upgrades would be automated. At times you would need to do manual intervention, but trust me, a lot of things can be taken care of by the auto upgrade. So with a minimal manual intervention, the entire process of the database upgrade from the older version to newer version will be taken care by the auto upgrade process, the tool itself. The auto upgrade utility is designed to automate the upgrade process. So both before starting the upgrades, during the upgrades of the actual database, and the post upgrade checks and configurations migration, all would be taken care by the auto upgrade utility. It looks a very superficial claim, a very high claim, but we will see how it really lives to those expectations when we go to the demo. When you use auto upgrade, you can configure or upgrade multiple Oracle database deployments all at the same time, and that too using a very simple single text configuration file which is made up of a lot of parameters, and you are allowed to customize those parameters. Things would be clear once I go to the configurations file section. So you have to just edit a configuration file, mention all the databases on that server which you would like to upgrade. Doesn't matter. It is capable of upgrading 11G release 2, 11.2040, 12C release 1, 12.1020, 12C release 2, 12.2010, and any 18C database to the latest version supported by auto upgrade. The latest version supported by auto upgrade is it can upgrade any database depending upon the compatibility metrics. You can upgrade the database to 12C release 2, or you can upgrade the database to 18C, or as it comes with the auto upgrade, you can always go to 19C. So you can pick up any previous versions and migrate them to 12C or 18C or to 19C. With January 2019 release updates, this auto upgrade support is available, as I said, for 12.2, doing upgrades to 12.2, doing upgrades to 18C, and doing upgrades to 19C. Prior to that, auto upgrade was only available for 19C databases. But with Jan 2019 release update, you can pick up any lower version database and can migrate it to 12.2, 18C or 19C. However, I would find it more appropriate nowadays directly to upgrade the database to 19C release, given that the 12.1s and the 12.2s are going to get desupported after November of 2020. Now, this auto upgrade tool comes bundled with the Oracle RDBMS 19C version, and it is periodically updated by the quarterly release updates that Oracle delivers in the month of Jan, April, July and October. So those release updates, when you apply quarterly release updates, when you apply the quarterly release update, would bring in a new version of the auto upgrade tool, and that tool itself would be installed in your Oracle Home RDBMS admin location. The name of that file is autoupgrade.jar file. But it is always recommended that instead of you relying on the quarterly releases and the bug fixes that might be available in the autoupgrade.jar file, you always go to the latest version by going to this Metalink note 2485457.1 and download the latest version of the autoupgrade.jar file, and then copy that jar file over to your Oracle Home RDBMS admin location. If required, you can take the backup of the previous autoupgrade.jar file before you bring in the new copy. I am going to go to that Metalink note. So here's the auto upgrade tool in that particular Metalink note, and at any given point in time, the latest version is indicated here. So it says the most recent version of the auto upgrade tool can be downloaded by clicking this. So this one, if you see in the tooltip text, it's going to download auto upgrade 19.9.2 build version 2020 0831st, which means on 31st of August Oracle release this particular auto upgrade utility. So instead of waiting for an October PSU to be available or a release update to be available, I can always go and download the latest version of the auto upgrade utility. This will make sure that all the known bug fixes are there in the latest version instead of you relying on the older version of the auto upgrade that might be available on your machine. So somebody said, I have already done that. So I'm checking what was the stock version that comes with my Oracle RDBMS 19C Oracle Home. And when I checked, I renamed that file though with the name oldautoupgrade.jar. The one that I used to have on my machine prior to I downloading this is the version from Feb of 2019, February of 2019. So I moved that file, I renamed it, and from the metallic node that I have just shown you, I have downloaded the latest version of the autoupgrade.jar. Then I uploaded it to the server and I can check what's the version of the old utility versus the new utility. Now you can make it out that as per that metallic node, I am also using the 19.9.2 version, which is from 31st of August of 2020, which happens to be the latest one. So it shows you the build information, and earlier you could see there has been a change in the way the version shows up. Now the version that I am using, it supports the build target version of 12.2, 18C or 19C, which means you can pick up any lower version database, use this auto upgrade utility. It is not version specific, so you can download the latest auto upgrade even if your Oracle home is 12.2, even if your target Oracle home is 18C or 19C, and then you can make use of this auto upgrade utility to upgrade any of your older databases to either the version 12.2 or to 18C or to 19C. However, the demo that I am going to show you, I am going to upgrade all my older versions of the database 11G, 12.1, 12.2 and 18C, 4 of them in a single auto upgrade instance. Using a single auto upgrade instance, I am going to upgrade them to 19C as part of the demo that's coming up at the end of this session. So you can use Java jar, the location of your auto upgrade.jar file to show up the version. Now in Oracle database 19C, which is 19.3 and the later target Oracle homes, the auto upgrade jar file exists by default. So if you are somebody who uses Oracle 19C, it's not that you don't have this auto upgrade.jar file in your Oracle home. It's there in your Oracle home RDBMS admin location. The only thing is it may be of older version and it might already have some known bugs in it. So that's why it's recommended that you go and download the latest version. Although auto upgrade is included with every quarterly release update that Oracle releases in the month of Jan, April, July and October. So if imagine that we are living on in the October of 2020s today. So I will wait for another maybe until 17th of October. That's tentatively when I can expect the October 2020 release update, and that will make sure that whatever was the latest auto upgrade.jar file available by the time of the release update, and once I apply the release update, it will automatically bring me in the later versions of auto upgrade utilities, the latest and the greatest with all the known bug fixes from its previous version. Auto upgrade is available for Oracle Database Enterprise Edition as well as for Standard Edition. So same utility, even if you are somebody who uses Oracle Standard Edition, you can also use the same auto upgrade utility to upgrade your databases from the lower versions to the higher versions. Now start the auto upgrade.jar file in the Oracle home which you are upgrading. So if I am upgrading my older databases to 19C, then it is recommended that you start the auto upgrade from the 19C Oracle home. However, the Oracle Home must contain Java version 8. You need not worry, especially when it comes to 19C, because 19C Oracle Home contains a JDK folder which comes with Java version 8 itself. So you need not worry, especially if you are on 19C. But then somebody said, what if I want to run it from a 12.1 Oracle Home? And there are certain reasons why you would need to run it from the source Oracle Homes. This is especially true if, imagine that my source database is on a different Linux machine and my 19C is on a different Oracle on a different server, then you have to run the auto upgrade utility once from 12.1 Oracle Home, that is source, which is on a different host, and then you would also need to run auto upgrade on the target Oracle Home. Then you might face challenges. You would see that 12.1 might not come with, or the lower versions might not come with Oracle version, Java version 8. In such cases, make sure that you install JDK somewhere on that machine, most probably under USR Java location or under Oracle Home JDK location, wherever you want, and then run with Java version 8, the auto upgrade utility. So Java 8 is available. So I am saying here that you need not be worried if you are on 12.1020, 12.2, 18C, 19C, all of them comes with the JDK version as 8. So you are covered there. But somebody may say, imagine that I have a old Oracle Home which is running on host A, which is 11.2040. And then on another machine, I would like to take this database to 19C. What should I do? So you go to the source host where you are running 11.2040. Make sure on that host you have Java 8 available. Run the first part of the auto upgrade process on that host. Basically, those are the two steps that you need to perform on the source host are analyze and pre-checks and prefix ups. So those are related to source database. And then you move your database files from the source host to target host where you want to upgrade that database to 19C. Then using the 19C Oracle Home binaries, you start up the database in upgrade mode, run one more time the auto upgrade utility, and then perform the upgrade. So especially in a two host scenarios, and somebody would say, why would I land up with in such a trouble? Why would I be doing why would I be switching from the old DB host to a new DB host? Oh, for a variety of reasons. Example, if yours is a 11.2040 version today, that means you are pretty old. You must most probably be running on Red Hat Linux 6. And you might not have ever upgraded from Red Hat Linux 6 or Oracle Linux 6 to version 7. But when you look at the certification metrics for the Oracle database 19C, it is only certified with Oracle or Red Hat Linux version 7. So you have now a situation. So your source database, which is 11.2040, does not have Java version 8 and it runs on Oracle Linux or Red Hat Linux 6. Now you are planning to upgrade that database to 19C. That 19C already has a Java version 8 installed on it required by this auto upgrade utility. But this 19C runs on a different machine which runs on Oracle or Red Hat Linux 7. Now how do you do this upgrade? Especially that this upgrade means you also are migrating from the old DB machine to the new DB machine. That's where those challenges might come up. And as a fix, what you do is go to your 11G Red Hat Linux 6 machine. Make sure you install JDK version 8 as a OS utility somewhere under USR. Once you have Java version 8, copy your auto upgrade.jar file into the Oracle Home RDBMS admin directory of your 11G release homes. Then run the analyze phase and the fix up phase so that everything that is required to report non-compliances, and fixing those non-compliances can be taken care on the source itself. Once that part is done, shut down your database on the source host, copy all the files from the source host to target, which is a Red Hat or Oracle Linux 7 having 19C. Then using the 19C binaries, you start up your Oracle database in upgrade mode, and then do the rest of the auto upgrade utility, which is the upgrade part of it, the real upgrade part of it. So when you upgrade Oracle 11G release 2 or earlier releases, you can use auto upgrade from the 11G Oracle home, provided you should have copied this jar file there. However, because Java version 8 is not available in those old Oracle binaries homes, then in that case, you must start the auto upgrade from Java release in the target home, especially if they are on the same machine. If they are on different machine, then make sure that your source host is installed with JDK version 8. Without JDK version 8, your utility won't work. Auto upgrade will not work if your Java version is below 8. Now let us get into a little more details of it. So auto upgrade, when you run an auto upgrade instance, which is a Java program, it supports 4 different modes, and each mode is responsible for doing a certain tasks or set of activities which are required throughout the DB upgrade. Those 4 modes are: analyze. The auto upgrade utility in this case would perform read only analysis of the databases before the upgrade, so that it can identify what are the non-compliances or the issues in your source database which requires fixes to be deployed. Those fixes, most of them are automatically deployed, and in some rare stray cases you may have to do some manual intervention, and you can run this utility even when your source database is running. All that it goes is just like in the old days we used to run pre-upgrade information tool. So it goes, checks your source database if there are any issues found, and then it will report you those issues. In back in older days when there were no tools, upgrade tools available, we used to go and fix them all manually. Common cases were like your recycle bin is not empty, so you go and purge the DB recycle bin. Your database dictionary stats are not collected, you go and collect those stats. Then if your Apex schema is of a older version, especially those who have worked on 18C and 19C upgrades, they would understand that Apex no longer gets upgraded as part of the DB upgrade, which was the case if you have done some DB upgrades from 11G to 12.1 or 11G to 12.2. Then Apex schema upgrade was part of the DB upgrade itself, and it used to take a long time. A typical Apex schema upgrade takes around 45 minutes. And for this reason, if you are somebody who has received this Apex schema as part of the stock database creation, the vanilla database creation, then probably you don't need that Apex schema. Why do you spend extra time doing the upgrade from the older version to a newer version of Apex, and that is forcibly done as part of a DB upgrade? So Oracle realized that mistake, and starting from 18C and onwards, if there is a old version of Apex schema, the analyze tool will report you, hey, you have got an old version of Apex, you must get rid of this Apex tool if you are not a serious user of Apex, and if you want to retain it, then you should upgrade the Apex tool or the Apex schema to the latest version. I believe the latest version as of today is 20 dot something. So analyze is going to report all those non-compliances on your source database, and it can be run even when the database is up and running for regular business purpose. You are not going to do any activity that is going to bring down the database or cause unwanted uh, effects on your source database. It only goes and analyzes it, as the name suggests. So somebody said, okay, I have analyzed and I found out that there are 10 discrepancies. What do I do next? Well, as part of auto upgrade, you can run another mode now, which is called as a fix up mode. So auto upgrade utility detects and identifies the fixes that are required for the source database. Now those fixes could either be the ones that requires manual intervention, or some of them are automatic fixes which do not require manual intervention. The tool itself can go and fix it. Example, why do I need to manually interject if my recycle bin is not empty? If upgrade requires the recycle bin to be empty, the tool itself can go and purge it. Why do I need a manual intervention if my analyze phase has figured out that there are the dictionary statistics which are old? Why do you want me to go and run the command execute dbms stats dot gather dictionary stats? The tool can do this very well automatically. So certain fixes you go and apply, rather a lot many of them are automatic in nature, and a very few of them might require manual intervention. A classic example of a manual intervention is the Apex schema of older version. Because Oracle does not know what to do with this schema. Remember, Apex is a separate downloadable software nowadays. So it doesn't know your database is, let's say, 12 C release 1. It comes with Apex version 4.x. Now Oracle does not know. It certainly knows that this Apex is going to cause problems during the upgrades. But what it doesn't know is, are you a serious user of Apex schema? You need this? Or is it just lying there just because you created an old database using DBCA that it showed up casually in your database? That's where you need to go and manually uh, intervene the fix up and make sure either you drop the Apex schema if you are not using it, or if you are really the user of Apex schema, then you upgrade the Apex to the latest version. Go to the Oracle's website, OTN website, download the latest version of Apex, whatever is there. Currently, the latest version of Apex is 20.x. Then do an Apex schema upgrade of your source database. Now it won't report that there are non-compliances or those requires fix-ups. Then the best case would be to run auto upgrade with a deploy. When you run it with a deploy, end to end, it would do everything. Now, when somebody says, what do you mean by end to end? I said everything that is done in analyze phase, everything that is done in fix up phase will automatically be done in the deploy phase till the very end of the upgrade, that is upgrading the database and starting it up with a 19C version. Everything from start to end that is required can be done as one single phase activity if your upgrade mode is deploy. So in a deploy mode, auto upgrade utility would modify the database you indicate in your configuration file. It will run analyze on the source database. It will run fix up on the source database. Then it will actually run through the upgrade process. It will create guaranteed restore points prior to the start of the upgrade. Then it will do the actual upgrade. And if you are doing non-CDB to PDB upgrades, it will make sure that your non-CDB database upon upgrade is plugged into a container database as if it's a pluggable database. And it would also make sure from the old Oracle home it copies the SQLnet.ora, TNSnames.ora, listener.ora from the sourced home to target homes. Now somebody said, when shall I run deploy? I said you should run deploy especially if you have got a downtime to do the entire upgrade in a single stroke. Both source and target Oracle homes are on the same machine. Then the best case is to directly run it with a deploy. No need to run analyze, no need to run fix up. Directly start doing a deploy. Deploy will automatically call the analyze and the fix up modes internally and will do the start to end. The entire upgrade will be done as one transaction. You don't have to break up saying, oh, I will run analyze first, then I will run fix up second, and then once I am ready I will run the deploy, which will again go and do the analyze and fix up if there are any exceptions found. and then it will run through the entire upgrade process. Then there is a distinct phase called as an upgrade. This is a special use case. This is especially required when the source and the target databases are on different machines. As I said, you might be running 11G release 2 on a Red Hat Linux 6, and you might want to upgrade it to a 19C which is running on a different machine which runs Red Hat Linux 7. Then how do you run the upgrade? So you take auto upgrade, go to the source host, run analyze and fixups. So that will make sure analyze goes and detects all non-compliances, reports it to you. Fixup will go and fix all those which can be auto fixable without manual intervention. If there are any things, any items, non-compliance items which requires manual intervention, you go and fix them manually. Shut down the database on the source host. Copy that database to the new DB host, which is Red Hat 7 in this case, imagine. Start up this 11G Oracle Home using 19C binaries in the upgrade mode, and then run again the fixups, this time from the 19C Oracle Home on a 11G database which you have just started in a upgrade mode. And once all of it is done, then you run the upgrade. In this case, the deploy mode will not come in picture. You have to run this time as an upgrade. So you have broken the upgrade in some steps. Analyze fixups to for the source, then bring the database to the target machine, then run certain leftover fixups from the new home, and then run the actual upgrade process. The upgrade process will make sure that it upgrades the database and also performs the post upgrade tasks, if any. Whereas deploy is very much suitable when both the source and target hosts are sitting on the same machine. Then you can run through one atomic transaction of a deploy mode in a deploy mode, which will run everything as one atomic process of analyze, fixups, upgrades, post upgrade task, and conversion of a non CDB to PDB. Everything will be done automatically as part of the deploy process. I already told you what is the relevance of upgrade. This is especially when you need to break the upgrade between the source and the target host. That's the time when you would run auto upgrade using the upgrade mode. Now somebody said, how do I need to run it, or what is the actual working modus operandi of this tool, how it actually works? So I said it's very simple. Oracle provided you an auto upgrade.jar, which is the utility, auto upgrade utility itself. You create beforehand a config file. The config file is nothing but certain parameters such as what is the name of the database you would like to upgrade, what is the instance name of that database, when do you want to start the actual upgrade process, you can actually schedule it, and what is the source Oracle home, what is the target Oracle home, and what is the log directory. So you mention the values for this parameter. How to mention that I am going to show you shortly once we go to global and local parameters in the config file. And then you run the auto upgrade utility saying please refer to this config file and run my utility in dash mode. Now those modes are, as I said, analyze, fix up, deploy, and upgrade mode. Now the moment I said here deploy, that means I am going to ask Oracle from start to end, run everything that is required to analyze my source, to fix up all the non-compliances which are auto fixable, then take it to through the upgrade process, and then at the end of the upgrade perform post upgrade tasks such as time zone upgrades, and then converting a non CDB to PDB if it is required. Do all those tasks as part of the single mode, which is the deploy mode. If you don't want to do that, then you can always replace this deploy word as analyze, fix up, deploy, or instead you can run as a two-pronged process as an upgrade. What will it do? So the moment you invoke it, Java starts an instance of a auto upgrade utility. So it bootstraps the module, the auto upgrade module gets ready. It processes the parameters in your config file, make sure that there are no parameter parsing errors, and then it makes sure that it gears up for the upgrade process. And then once it has completely done the parsing, it's all set up, it's bootstrapped completely, then it calls the job manager. Each upgrade becomes a unique job. So if imagine in my case, if I'm running a upgrade for 4 databases, each database will be treated as a upgrade job and will have a numeric job ID, and that is unique for that particular upgrade. So if I run 4 upgrades at a time, the first job will have number as 100, the next job will have 101, the next job will have 102. Those are unique job IDs which are automatically tracked by the auto upgrade process, and it will show me periodically at a very fast refresh interval what exactly the auto upgrade process is doing at the moment. So those jobs are then given by the dispatcher process to the job manager, and then the dispatcher starts actually processing the individual tasks which are part of the job. You need not worry what those abstractions lower down the level are, but we are at the max. At least we know what exactly happens when you invoke an auto upgrade utility. So parse a config file, make sure you are ready by bootstrap module, that you are ready to fire the auto upgrades of all the databases. Then depending upon how many databases you have mentioned to be upgraded in the config file, for each one of them give the task to upgrade it to the job manager. Then the job manager sends, prepares and submits jobs to the dispatcher, and then the dispatcher will make sure each of those jobs are then attended in parallel. So what happens during the auto upgrade is shown on this slide. I said when you run analyze mode, so these are the modes that I said earlier: analyze, fix ups, deploy and upgrade. So what happens, and these are the stages, what all activities Oracle performs during that particular mode. So if you run only analyze mode, it sets up the utility and it performs the pre-checks. Only 2 sets of activities if you separately run analyze. If you run fix ups, imagine that I am not running analyze, I directly said go and fix up. So it will run the setup, it will run the pre-checks as you would have done it with analyze, it will also do the pre-checks, and then for any non-compliances that it has found on the source database, it is going to run the pre-fix up, means pre-upgrade fix-ups. Somebody said, what if I want to run directly the upgrade without doing an analyze and fix-ups separately as 2 steps? I said directly go to the deploy mode and start your auto upgrade for those databases in your config files in a deploy mode. Now this is the only mode which will perform all the activities. So it says I am going to do setup, I am going to do pre-upgrade tasks, I am going to do pre-checks, and if there are any non-compliances, I am going to fix up all those non-compliant items. Then I am going to take a guaranteed restore point. Then I am going to shut down the source database which is running in the source Oracle home on the same machine. Then it will start up the database in upgrade mode into the new Oracle home, and it will finish doing the entire upgrade. It performs the post checks, so making sure that all the components in your database have been upgraded successfully. Then it goes and performs the post fix ups, such as doing a time zone upgrade, and then it also makes sure that it copies the network files as part of post upgrades into from the source Oracle home into the target Oracle home. So everything is done as one atomic entity from start to end as part of a deploy. And then I said an upgrade where your source Oracle home and target Oracle homes are not on the same machine. What would happen if you do an upgrade? Upgrade will do a setup, then it will do the DB upgrade tasks, then it will do post checks, and then it will do the post fix ups. What it cannot do is copying of the Oracle home config files from network admin folder, TNS name, SQLnet or listener.ora, because you are running it in upgrade mode. The assumption is you would run upgrade mode only when source Oracle home is not on the same machine where your target Oracle home is. So different modes of upgrades and different stages that it goes through. and what happens as part of that upgrade thing. Let's quickly move on to understanding operations and the states of each of the operations. So as I said, this entire auto upgrade will perform the upgrade by breaking it into multiple modes. Then those modes have stages. The stages is nothing but a collection of actions will be performed. Those are called as operations. So at any given moment, the operation may be in preparing stage, and if it is already prepared for operation, then it might be actually running that operation. So it gears up or it actually executes. So the operation describes the actions that would be performed in a given stage, and then for each of these operations there are states. The operation could be running, that means auto upgrade is currently performing that particular task. The operation has been aborted, that's because a user pressed a abort action. He said, no, I don't want to go ahead, please abort it wherever you are. So auto upgrade stopped performing the staged workflow in response to a user request. Remember, it has not errored out. I told it not to proceed, so it aborted. And then the operation errored out because it encountered some error. An error was encountered while the operation was running. You will have to go and review what is the cause of the error if it has errored out. And lastly, the finished. So the entire operation has completed successfully. So either you would be seeing it mostly, I am assuming you are not generally going to abort it, and I do not expect the many auto upgrades that I ran, I never ran into any errors. So assuming most likely you are going to see the operation is either in a running state or in a finished state. So these are the operations: preparing or executing a particular stage action, and then for each of these executing states it could be running, aborted, errored, or finished. The next thing is about auto upgrade workflows. What are the two use cases? I already told you in enough details, I believe, that there may be a situation where the source and target database homes are on the same machine, or there may be situation where the source and target database homes are on a different machine. And then I said, how do you run if you want to run it in a step by step manner? In this use case, you might want to run analyze when the database is up and running, and then you may want to do fix ups, or if you don't want, you want to do the upgrade with all analyze, fix up, deploys, upgrades, post upgrades, everything as a single entity, then you can directly start by saying deploy. Remember, this deploy option is only useful when source and target Oracle database homes are available on the same server. But in those stray cases where the source is on a different machine and the target is on a different machine because of incompatibility of operating systems, maybe, although that's not the case, probably you never find the time or found the time in the past to do a operating system upgrade. So you have a 11G database which is on Red Hat Linux 6. You never found time to upgrade the database to Red Hat Linux 7, and because of the various challenges that you would normally come across while doing an OS upgrade, you decided not to. So imagine you are on 11.2.0 database on host A where Red Hat version of Linux is 6.10, and now you are on a different machine, you are on a 19C which runs on Red Hat Linux 7. So source and targets are on different hosts. Then what do? You go on to the source host, run analyze. You go on, do the fix up on the source host. Then you copy the database from source host to the target host, and then you run the actual upgrade. And this will make sure you have to start up the database using the old version database using the new version binaries in upgrade mode before you actually fire the upgrade. And then it will find out, oh, in the 19C home your Oracle binary, your Oracle database version is 11G, and it will pick it up from there and it will run through the entire upgrade process from there onwards. Somebody said, what do I need to know? You said the important thing to know is about the config file. I said yes, the auto upgrade takes a single input, which is the config file which you can edit. It's a text file with all parameters in it. where you indicates where you indicate the bare minimum ones that are required. So an auto upgrade config file is a text file filled up with information that you feed to the auto upgrade tool in a form of a parameter equals value configuration. Now, in the config file, there are two different types of parameters. Global parameters, which means they apply to all the upgrades that you are doing. You might be doing more than 1 dB upgrades using the same config file. Then global parameters are applicable to all. And then there are local parameters which are specific to that particular dB upgrade. And then somebody says, what if I mention a parameter which is both in global and local section? Then I said the local parameters will be having a higher precedence over the global parameters. So global parameters by default apply to all the databases which you are planning to upgrade by putting them into the config file, and the way you mention them is global dot parameter name equals value. And then there are local parameters. Local parameters are for that specific database which you are planning to do an upgrade of. And then you mention a custom prefix. I might say xyz dot parameters equals value. What that custom prefix is, it is any name that you would like to give for that particular database entity in the auto upgrade tool. So imagine I am upgrading databases db1 and db2 to a later version. Then I might call the first upgrade as upg1 upgrade 1, and the second database I might call it as upg2. Or you might want to use a custom prefix as the db name itself. I might call db1 dot parameter equals value, db2 dot parameter equals value. So it's not necessary that a custom prefix has to be a db name. It could be any user generated label which identifies that specific database within your config file. All global parameters are optional in nature, and most of the local parameters, if you see, are required in nature. So it's okay if your configuration file does not have any global parameter, but then in that case you also need to make sure that the local equivalent, local database specific equivalent of those global parameters are mentioned. Most of the local parameters are mandatory in nature, and most of, or rather all of the global parameters are optional in nature. So somebody said, but how do I get to a config file? I want to generate a sample config file, otherwise how would I know what parameters are required? I said you can ask the auto upgrade utility to create a sample file for you by saying java jar auto upgrade.jar file, and the option is create sample file, and the keyword that you need to pass is config. This will create the sample config.cfg file for you, and then as per your requirement you can edit this file. I will show you it during the demo. Now, apart from config file, the auto upgrade utility has its own settings. Generally, in a real world, I have never gone to the settings file to edit any of those settings. Those default would generally be applicable to all the auto upgrade instances that you invoke. But just in case, if somebody says, no, I would like to get a more granular control of the auto upgrade utility, how it internally functions and what parameter it depends upon, generally this is not a required element. Then you can ask, tell me what are the parameters that auto upgrade utility itself internally consumes, not part of the config file, but settings. Then you can ask to dump the settings by saying java jar auto upgrade create sample file, and in this case instead of config you need to pass settings. In your current working directory, it will create a file called as sample auto upgrade.cfg file. These are nothing but settings internally consumed by your auto upgrade utility, such as heartbeat interval, refresh interval for a command status, something that I never found out to be very interesting enough to go and poke my nose into. Generally, what we should focus as a DBA is on understanding how to get a config file, how to fill it up with proper values, either globally or local DB specific parameters, and then run through the upgrade process. I never found it this particular settings file to be interesting enough to go and explore it in more details. So somebody said, what if I want to now understand those parameters? So here's a listing of all those parameters. I said auto upgrade configuration parameters in your global section. So remember, all the global parameters will have a prefix as global dot some parameter equals some value. The first one is add after upgrade p file. The name itself indicates, specifies actually a file path of a p file, where you have p file is for your Oracle database parameter file, a text parameter file, where you have put some parameter equals to value, and these parameters are to be added into your parameter file after the upgrade is done. So specifies file and file paths for a p file whose parameters you would like to add to your parameter file after the database is upgraded. So somebody says, after I upgrade my 11G database to 12C or to 19C, I would like to switch from manual memory management to automatic memory management. Then there is no need to wait for the upgrade to finish and then do it. You can put all your parameters directly in a text file which is handy before the upgrade, and once all the upgrade is done, all the parameters which you have mentioned in this file will be automatically added to the upgraded database. How to do this? As an example, you can say global.add after upgrade p file equals, give some custom path of your p file where you have stored those parameters. So Oracle will make sure after the upgrade is done, all the parameters that you mentioned in this parameter file are copied into your upgraded database. More similar in nature is add during upgrade p file. As the name indicates, imagine you ran through an upgrade and the upgrade failed. You worked with Oracle. Oracle says the only way you can do is put a hidden parameter into it, and this has to be put into while you are doing an upgrade. Now, how do I intervene when auto upgrade has taken the entire control? Oh, you can still mention by saying global.add during upgrade p file equals, and then you can mention all the parameters. So Oracle will make sure that whatever parameters you have added in this parameter file, just prior to start of the upgrade, it adds those parameters into from your parameter file, so that during the upgrade those parameters stay in action. Now this is very interesting. After action, it mentions actually a shell script, what needs to be done after the entire upgrade process is done, and that's what I'm going to show you in my demo as well. When I do the demo for the first time, I will show you that how certain things after upgrade requires manual fixes to be deployed. Example, two of my source databases has a character set as WE8, Western European, the Win 1252 as the character set, which is not a recommended character set any longer. Although it's perfectly fine that my pluggable database can use a different character set than my container database, ideally I would not like to use any of those older character sets, and I might want to switch to a more robust and globally known character sets such as AL32 UTF-8. Now at the end of the upgrade, when I open my pluggable database, the pluggable database violations would be reported. It is just a warning type of a violation. It would say, hey, I noticed that your pluggable database uses an older character set, whereas your container database uses a newer character set. It is recommended that you go and change your character set to AL32 UTF-8. I'm going to show you how to do that manually. And then when I rerun my auto upgrade utility second time, I will write my own shell script to define after actions, and all those steps that I have done manually, I will embed them in my shell script. So from start to end, without any human intervention, without even after the upgrade is done, without I typing a single command, all those violations in my second demo would be taken care of. So the way you have after action, the same way you have a before action. So if there are any fixes that you would like to do on the source database before the upgrade starts, then you can define your own custom script. So I'm going to show this as well, where in my 12.1 database, I have an Apex schema which I am not using, which is of the version 4.x. And then if I run my deploy auto upgrade in a deploy mode, it will fail with a fatal error saying, oh, I just while analyzing, I noticed that you are using an Apex schema of an older version. I'm not going to do the upgrade. I said, why not? Because new methodology is not to upgrade Apex schema. So it breaks that upgrade there. Then I will go and manually remove that Apex schema. Anyhow, I am not using it. And then I would resume my upgrade which halted. That's phase number 1, the first demo that I will show you. In my second demo, instead of I doing this, I jumping into the war zone, I will deploy a robot action, which is a before action. So before the entire upgrade begins, my action will go and remove the Apex schema from that particular database, and then I will run it with a deploy mode. The deploy will run the before script. It will remove the Apex schema, and it will then from start to end, it will not stop in between, and it will complete the entire upgrade as one atomic activity. Then you can mention where the auto upgrade utility should generate the log files. You can specify the location of those log files. Similar way, you have delete after upgrade p file, parameters which you would like to remove after the upgrade is done from your current p file. Delete during upgrade p file if there are any parameters which you would like to remove from the parameter file during the upgrade. If they are present, you can mention the name of those parameters. Drop grp after upgrade. As I said, when you do upgrades, as part of the upgrade, before the actual upgrade starts, Oracle creates a guaranteed restore point, so that if something goes wrong, it also takes care of restoring the database without any manual intervention. So you are telling here that at the end of the upgrade, the GRP, guaranteed restore point, that you have created prior to the start of this upgrade, the guaranteed restore point should be dropped automatically. By default, the global action is no, means do not remove the guaranteed restore point. I would like to retain it. If something goes wrong during the upgrade as part of the auto upgrade tool, then auto upgrade is smart enough to restore your database to the same state as it was at the time of GRP. So understand it how it works. So imagine my 12.1 database I am planning to upgrade to 19C. So it has run through analyze, fix ups, and doing deploys. In the deploy part, just prior to start of the upgrade, it creates a guaranteed restore point, and then it runs through the upgrade process. If something goes wrong during upgrade, then auto upgrade will restore your source database intact till the GRP point. So it will automatically take your database prior to exactly at the guaranteed restore point. And then what you would like to do with the GRP once the upgrade is successful? If you want to drop it. The default action is no. I would prefer to drop it anyways if the upgrade was successful. Why? Because GRP is overhead. GRP will keep on generating flashback logs until you drop the GRP, and GRPs are very rigid, means they are never removed from the control file because of their auto aging properties. They are never auto aged out of control files unless you drop them manually. Until you drop them, they will keep on generating flashback logs which might quickly fill up your FRA. Not a good sign. So I would generally say, yeah, at the end of the upgrade, please drop the guaranteed restore point. Then there's another parameter called as remove underscore parameters, which is by default set to yes. Oracle always said that prior to you starting an upgrade, if there are any hidden parameters in your parameter file, the ones that starts with underscore, remove them, and only after the upgrade, if you feel they are still relevant, add them back, but don't keep them added during the upgrade process. So you can say global dot remove underscore parameters equals yes, means during the upgrade process, all those underscore parameters would be removed. Then restoration, this generates a GRP, guaranteed restore point, for database restoration. If you select this option, then both database backup and database restoration must be performed manually. If you say, oh no, I don't want this to be done, or I would like restoration to be done manually, then in that case you will have to take the backups beforehand. Anyways, it is still recommended, although Oracle Auto Upgrade makes a GRP and is also capable of restoring your database which has a broken upgrade in between. It can restore your database back to its original state up to that GRP level. It is still recommended that you always take a manual backup before as a safety measure. Don't rely completely upon auto upgrade. Well, this is not my statement, this is Oracle statement. They themselves are telling that although auto upgrade is smart enough to do all these restorations, guaranteed restore points, it is still recommended that you don't rely very heavily on those uh, features. Then the target Oracle home, which Oracle RDBMS binaries you are trying to upgrade it to. In my case, it will be pointing to a 19C Oracle home. And then, like in the old days when you used to run the pre-upgrade information tool, it used to generate a XML file which tells you what is going to happen as part of this upgrade. So upgrade.xml, it generates a upgrade.xml file like in earlier releases of pre-upgrade package, which will tell you what exactly is going to happen during the upgrade. It's a synopsis of, or a quick summary of what will happen during this particular upgrade. So those were all the global parameters. Now we are at a slide which talks about the local parameters. Now, as I said, in your config file, let me see if I have a config file handy on my machine. So here's one of the config files that I'm going to use it during our demonstration. So I said there's a global section. Well, it's comment though. It's only for my reading. Anything that begins with hash is a comment. So I commented this is my global section and these are my local sections. So in my global section, I mentioned certain parameters with a prefix as global dot parameter name equals value. So I'm saying global dot auto upgrade log directory is this location, and then auto upgrade target home is my 19C Oracle home, and many other global parameters that you might want to mention. As I said before, I am going to demonstrate you how before action Unix script can be used to fix all the non-compliances before doing the actual upgrade, which requires manual intervention. So instead of manually intervening the upgrade process, I have written automation which will go into the source database and remove the Apex schema. And then after upgrade, if there are any character sets upgrade required or whatever, then I will go, and that's because of a PDB plugin violations. I will go and take care of those PDB plugin violations by writing a shell script. So I will go and do character set upgrades. I will make sure that I install Oracle Label Security, Oracle Data Vault if they are required. So manual fixes I will show you during my actual demo. So this is the global section. And then there are local sections for every database. So in my demo, I am going to upgrade one 11.2040 database. So this section, the prefix is UPG1. You can keep any prefix A, B, C, X, Y, Z. So I said this is my upgrade one, which is for 11G release 2 database. And then for this particular database, whatever are the parameters equals value. This is called as a local section. Now certain parameters you might see in the global section as well as local section. If that's the case, then local section parameters have higher precedence over the parameters that you mentioned in the global section. I do not see, especially in this particular case, any reason, although I commented it. If required, I could have put, oh, this particular database will run from a different 19C Oracle home. If I commented it, that means whatever I mentioned in the global section will be applicable. So this is a local section for my 11G upgrade, and the prefix that I chose is UPG1. Then I picked up 12C release 2 database, which is also on the same machine, part of the same config file. I said this I will identify as a upgrade 2. Then somebody said, oh, you are using a some methodology like some convention UPG1, UPG2. Just to avoid that, the third upgrade that I am going to do is 12C release 2. Instead of calling it as UPG3, I called it as try1. My point is, you are free to keep any prefix. Then, just to avoid again getting into a specific convention, I said while doing the 18C upgrade, I'm using a prefix as DMO1, demo1. It's not that it has to be always 4 characters. You can keep any number of characters. So it is just a prefix. That prefix is only to bundle relevant parameters together. So whenever I said dmo1.db name start time, it knows that this is for this particular database 18C. When I say target version try1 and target version demo1, in either cases it says okay, this is for this particular 18C database and this is for 12C release 2 database. So it is, the prefix is only to bundle multiple database specific parameters under a given heading. So though you are free to type any prefix as such. Question is, which are those parameters? So I am switching back. The first parameter is a checklist. So if you want, you can specify custom checklist. Custom checklist means generally Oracle is coded to go and do certain checks prior to doing the upgrade, and then it reports any non-compliances. If you see that those auto upgrade fix up that Oracle implements by default do not follow your organization's security policy concerns, then in that case you are free to define your own checklist. I won't go into the details because normally it's not required, but there is a separate documentation available as to if you want to do your own custom checks as part of the auto upgrade, how to write that custom checklist so that it gets picked up, and then apart from doing the basic checks that the auto upgrade utility is programmed to do and then implementing those fix ups, what if you want to do your own fix up and your own checks? So you can specify your own checklist. Enable local undo. This is only required when you are doing a upgrade of a CDB. We are not doing a upgrade of a CDB in the demo at least. So imagine you are running 12C release 2, 12.2, which itself is a CDB that consists of 3 pluggable databases. And then you want to upgrade this to 19C. But pluggable databases also can have local undos. Now, if you want those pluggable databases to have a local undo for each one of them separately, individually, then you can enable local undo for the upgrade, saying, okay, after the upgrade, I would like to have all my pluggable databases to use their own local undo instead of using one big undo table space which is at a CDB level. Remember, this change I believe was introduced in 12C release 2. Otherwise, when container databases were released in 12C release 1, there used to be one common undo table space for all the pluggable databases inside a CDB. Now that's not the case. You have a choice, and the recommended is also the new way. That means let every pluggable database have its own local undo. So if there are 4 pluggable databases in your CDB, there will be for each one of those pluggable databases, there will be a undo table space of its own. So 4 undo table space that way, and the container database will have its own undo table space for its own usage. Then env settings, especially if you are using TDE databases and you would like to pass to the auto upgrade utility the Oracle SID, the Oracle Home, Oracle Base, TNS Admin, wallet locations. Some of those environment variables can be passed to the auto upgrade utility using the env parameter, something like here. So I said wallet location is one of my parameters. Then I said source equals methods equals file directory so and so, and you can pass the custom env variables. Those custom env could be Oracle SID, Oracle Base, TNS Admin, whatever. You can pass on the custom environment variables into the location so that it becomes generic. Otherwise, somebody might say, oh, you are having a wallet location, and the wallet location, I do not use a hard coded names, I use some variables instead, environment variables. You are free to pass those environment variables here. Then PDBs, imagine that you are doing an upgrade of a CDB which already has 4 pluggable databases from 12c release 2 to 19c, then in which of those 4 PDBs you would like to upgrade and in which order, that you can mention in the PDBs clause. In my demo, since all my source databases are non-CDB, for me that parameter won't matter, but it's a comma separated list of pluggable databases which you would like to upgrade as part of the CDB upgrade or using this auto upgrade tool. Then at the end of the upgrade, do you want the UTL RP to run, which compiles all the invalid objects after the upgrade is done? Obviously yes. The default answer is also yes. I would like to go and compile all the invalid objects post upgrade. SID is nothing but the name of your Oracle instance. Source home, which Oracle RDBMS home the source database runs from. It's in the local section. As you could see here, my Oracle 11G, my Oracle 11G home source home is this. My 12C home is this. My 12C release 2 home is this. And my 18C Oracle home is this. And all of them would then be upgraded to a 19C CDB environment. The CDB Oracle home is going to be at this location. So what's the source Oracle home? Then your TNS admin directories, if they are elsewhere, you can mention where the source TNS admin directories. You can read the description as well as example the way we specify it. So whatever is the local prefix like upg1 dot source TNS admin directory equals wherever it is, if at all, if it is not in a default location. Then start time, at what day, date and time it picks up a specific format. The date format is DD MMYY or MMDDYY especially. So it would, when you mention it in a format that Oracle can or the auto upgrade can understand. Auto upgrade understands either styles. You can also use a keyword now. That means start the upgrade right away. The moment I am saying auto upgrade deploy, assume that you don't have to wait for that time to come. So you can start doing the upgrade. Imagine I am doing a readiness activity half an hour of the time. I might say I would like to start upgrade from 30 minutes from now. So I can say on 4th of October 2020, whatever is the time I would like to start, and I can run the deploy. Now deploy will not start the upgrade immediately. It will wait until the system time changes to that particular time, and then it will trigger the activity saying, okay, let me start doing the upgrade now, analyze, fix up, and the deploy. What is the target base? Where for the your source target Oracle home, where is the base location? You can mention the Oracle base location using upg1.target base equals some location. What's the target version you are trying to upgrade your database to? Especially this is important. When using the single config file, you can upgrade 11G to 12.2, 12.1 to 18C and 12.2 to 19C. Multiple complex upgrades you want to run through a single config file. Then in that case, you can say, okay, this particular database I am not planning to upgrade to 19C. This particular database I am planning to upgrade it only to 12.2. So using the same config file, some of the databases are getting upgraded from 11G to 12.2. Some other databases are getting upgraded from 12.1 to 18C, and some other databases you are upgrading from 12.2 to 19C. All of them using a single config file. So you don't have to worry. Auto upgrade, as I said, is nowadays capable. Starting with January release update of 2019, it can help you upgrade lower version databases to 12.2, 18C as well as 19C. And you can choose in a specific DB section by saying to which target version you are trying to upgrade it to. So I said, okay, I would like to upgrade this database to 12.2. Now this makes it very interesting. So I said, okay, rest of the databases you are upgrading to 19C, but only this 11G database you are upgrading it to 12C. In that case, you will have to mention the Oracle home path of 12C. So using single config file, multiple versions of different lower version databases can be upgraded to multiple higher destination versions. which makes it even more interesting. Then when you are plugging the database at the end of the upgrade, should it copy the files or should it move the files? And if it needs to copy the files, or it needs to move the files, or it needs to do no action, then in that case, what is the file naming conversion format to be applied? So F1, R1, F2, R2, F3, R3 is nothing but the source path to target path mapping. So this is optional parameter, and it's only required if you want the PDB files to be copied over from one location to another as part of the upgrade. So this option is only used when creating a pluggable database within the target CDB. It specifies what to do with the source files. Shall they be copied over? Shall they not be copied? If you say no copy, then this particular thing is not required. So I said let the data files be there wherever they are. Just convert the database to a pluggable database as part of the upgrade or post upgrade activity. So my files will not come, or Oracle is not going to copy those files into a specific location. If you want, you can mention that. So you can tell Oracle saying, okay, this is my old path, and when you convert this to a pluggable database, I would like to see my files copied under this path. So as part, remember, if you are doing a copy, upgrade is going to take a lot of time depending upon the size of the database, because now you are saying that let my source data files be there where they are, and as part of a PDB conversion, I would like to make a copy of those files. So storage requirement is more, and also the time it will take is more. I prefer to do no copy. I said, why should I copy a file from one location to another? Let them be there where they are. Then you can mention target PDB names. So the demo that I am going to run through, my source database name is DB1120. That's a standalone database, non-CDB architecture. And then I am going to upgrade it into 19C. And then I said, when you upgrade it to 19C, I would like to also plug the database as a PDB, but that time I won't like to take the same name as DB112. I would like to call it as PDB112. And under which container database it should be plugged into? That is CDB all. So CDB all is my container database. DB1120 is currently my standalone database, and I am telling the upgrade utility that upgraded from 11G to 11G to 19C version, and as part of the post upgrade, make it a pluggable database with the name PDB112, and this pluggable 11.2 database should be under my container database CDB all. So that's what we are mentioning as part of target PDB name, which means while converting from non-CDB to PDB, if you would like to rename the database, you can rename it. Then you can mention target TNS admin directory. This is especially useful if you want Oracle to copy the source config files sqlnet.ora, tnsnames.ora, listener.ora from source Oracle home network admin to destination Oracle home network admin. Then you must specify the paths. Then as part of the post upgrade, do you want the upgrade of time zones to happen? You know that different versions of Oracle uses different time zone version files. Then as part of the post upgrade activity, we generally go and upgrade the time zones, DST. So the DST updates can be done by the auto upgrade automatically, simply by saying time zone upgrade equals yes. So whatever is the time zone version file that comes with 19C, at the end of the upgrade, all the databases would be upgraded to that time zone version file. Then some of the config options. When you run auto upgrade, it determines the type of the database, meaning whether yours is a Oracle database standalone with ASM, without ASM, or it's a RAG database. And trust me, it is capable of doing all types of upgrades. So you can run it enterprise edition, standard edition, standalone, with ASM, without ASM, RAG databases. All of them can be upgraded with the auto upgrade tool. Auto upgrade 19.8 and above can upgrade RAG databases. However, there are some caveats. I won't go into much details of those caveats as to what those are. But yes, it is capable. If you go through the authorized documentation, you will come to know. So somebody says, what is that when it says caveats? Are there any disadvantages? No, I said it's the usual stuff that you do generally during an upgrade. Means it will make sure that during the upgrade your cluster underscore database parameter is set to false, so on and so forth. Those are those tiny little caveats that I am talking about, not something that it won't be capable of doing some RAG database upgrades. Then it will make sure that the local listeners are turned off and then they are again turned on at the end of the upgrade. Those minor things you can go through the documentation if you want to understand what those caveats are. Auto upgrade can also upgrade a non-CDB to a PDB. That's what I am going to show you in the demo. Since this process is non-recoverable, address all error conditions which you find during the analyze mode and always take a backup before you start an upgrade. I told you that although auto upgrade takes a GRP, especially if you are converting from a old non-CDB architecture to PDB architecture, you might end up in a trapped situation where you can't go back now. So it's always recommended, just in case that GRP cannot be restored back, you should have taken a manual backup before you started the upgrade, else you would be in deep trouble. If you do not set the target PDB copy option in your auto upgrade configuration file, then the database conversion uses the same location, same file names, and this is like using a no copy option of a PDB. अगर आपने कोई लोकेशन नहीं दिया है टारगेट पीडीबी कॉपी में, like here, so you said target PDB copy options and you never mentioned it, like F1 to R1 mapping, source and target mapping. In that case, it will assume that you don't want to make a copy, and in place the same set of files will be used for plugging the entire database into a CDB. Then during the deploy conversion and the upgrade workflow, auto upgrade version 19.9 and later creates a GRP and runs the prefix stage. If any part of your deployment workflow goes wrong, then hopefully you should be able to get back to the GRP. But as I said, do not heavily depend upon GRP. Because when you actually go and do a PDB, non-CDB to PDB conversion, and your database is plugged in, the moment you plug your database into a CDB, that GRP becomes invalid and is automatically dropped. So something goes wrong after you have plugged your database under a container database. Remember, there is no GRP available. As part of the plugging process, the GRP has to be removed first, and now you cannot go back. So it becomes a very dangerous territory then. So make sure you always have a manual backup before, especially if the use case is non-CDB to PDB conversion. Well, I never ran into any issues, so I can assure that the many auto upgrades that I have done, I was fortunate enough that I never ran into those troubled waters. The next question is, oh, this auto upgrade seems to be very smart. It is doing everything, keeping myself in dark. It has automated everything. Where do I see the log files if I want to study what exactly it is doing? I said all the log files will go under one global directory that is given by the parameter global.auto-upgrade auto-upgr log directory. You mention some directory, it must be a directory which already exists, or the parent must have a writable. On a parent directory, you must have a write operation permitted so that it can create that directory if it is not already present. Inside the this particular directory, you will see it creates a subdirectory called as cfg2 logs. Inside that, it creates an upgrade directory. Inside that, it creates auto directory, and this auto directory will contain the auto upgrade.log, auto upgrade.user log, and auto upgrade error log. So this auto upgrade.log is a running commentary. This is a job information, that which jobs are running or are created and fired by the auto upgrade utility. And if you ran into troubled waters, then you can see those errors by saying auto upgrade error.log. Then there's a config files directory which is internally consumed. As I said, there are temporary and global parameter files configured by the auto upgrade during the process. If you want to see those config files, then Inside this global upgrade directory, you will see something called as config files, and there you can locate all your config files used by the auto upgrade. And then there's a status directory which has JSON files. Those JSON files indicates the latest up to date status of the jobs that you are running, and the progress made by those jobs can be tracked using progress.json file. Now somebody said, but where can I see database specific logs? Because in my config file I have 4 databases to be upgraded. I said in the global log directory, it will create a subfolder with the name of the DB. So you will have, for if you am upgrading 4 databases in one go, then under this one you will have one folder name for the first database, another one for the second database, so on and so forth. So for each of the module in the directories contains a status file, and for every database there will be a subfolder where database specific logs generated by the auto upgrade utility will be there if you want to see specific database log files during the upgrade. So what is that we are going to do in this one? So you will have multiple non-CDB databases. Imagine there's a non-CDB database called as cells. Auto upgrade will go and do an upgrade of this database, and auto upgrade is also capable of plugging this database as a PDB into an existing container database. So I'm assuming there's already a CDB which has PDB seed and already an orange color PDB1 here. And then I said, okay, I would like to take my older version non-CDB. Let's say this is a 11G or 12.1 database. And then I said, use auto upgrade, upgrade this database and put it as part of a pluggable database into an existing CDB. This is possible. This is what we are going to do. The only difference would be I am going to take 4 pluggable, 4 non-CDBs, upgrade them using single auto upgrade instance and stash them under the same container database, all in a single auto upgrade instance. Just to jump ahead of time as to what I am planning to show you in the demo, I will go to my last slide. This is what I am going to do. As part of my auto upgrade demo, I will pick up a database which is a non-CDB 11.2040 database. And then there's a non-CDB 12.1 database. There's a non-CDB 12.2 database, and there's a non-CDB 18C database. I have listed the features, deliberate problems that I created in those databases. So in 11.2 database, my character set is WA8MS Win1252 character set, which after pluggable database is created will be reported as a warning. In my 11G, I do not have a database vault and Oracle label security, which will be a warning. In my 12.1 database, there is an older version of Apex schema. And at the end of the upgrade, if I run through successful auto upgrade, you will see in my database called as CDB all, which is a container database, this PDB 11.2, PDB 12.1, PDB 12.2 and 18C will all sit as pluggable databases at the end of my upgrade. And the character set I will use for all of them is AL32 UTF-8. That's recommended going forward. So that's what I'm going to show as part of the auto upgrade demo. Coming back to how do I know that auto upgrade is still running? I said, don't worry. When you fire auto upgrade in any of the modes, whether it's analyze, fix up, deploy or upgrade, it shows you a console. Console is by default enabled unless you say no console while invoking. And then the console is an interactive command prompt, and it accepts commands which you can use to see the status, suspend a particular job or resume a aborted job. All those things can be done on the command prompt on the auto upgrade console. Remember, whenever you launch auto upgrade, by default the console launches automatically. So it will come on to its own command prompt. The command prompt will look with the keyword as UPG. That means an upgrade is going on and you are on the console command prompt, not onto the operating system command prompt. And then the console has its own set of supported command set, and you can type those commands to either come out of the command prompt, to abort a running job, or to see the status of the job, or if already a job has been aborted, you want to resume it, then you can resume those jobs. All sorts of those commands can be typed onto the console while it is running. Somebody says, no, I don't like a console. I have tested this upgrade many a times. There's no fun watching that console. I said, okay, in that case, you while running auto upgrade in any mode, all that you need to say is no console. Hyphen no console will make sure that you are not attached to the console for the duration. Somebody says, what's the utility of a console? What can I do? I said, you can do a lot of things. If you don't like to be on the console, come out of it. At the end of it, you can say exit. If you want to see what commands are supported on the console, you can type help. Then you can use LSJ. LSJ is a short form of list all the running jobs. Then you can pass hyphen R, hyphen F, hyphen P, hyphen E, hyphen N options if you want to see only finished jobs. If you want to see the jobs which have errored out, if you want to see all the running jobs, if you want to see the jobs which are only in a preparation phase, or if you want to list a specific job numbers, like out of let's say 10 upgrades that I am running, I want to only see 2 of them. Then I can say numeric job number, only show 2 of them. Then LSR, if your restoration is happening, if something has gone wrong, and auto upgrade says, okay, your upgrade has failed, let me restore it back. And if multiple such upgrades have failed, then you can see the restoration queue, what is happening during the restoration. You can see the abort queue, which jobs you have manually aborted. You can see the tasks which are currently running by typing task command. If one of the job has already aborted for some reason or has been stopped because of an error condition, you fixed it by manually intervening it. You can then say resume that job followed by the job number. As I said, every upgrade is assigned a numeric job ID. And then if one of the upgrades, which I am going to show that it's going to halt in one of our cases when I do a demo 1, because of Apex of older version, my 12c upgrade is going to be stopped. Oracle says, no, I can't go ahead with the older version. And then I will go and remove the Apex schema, and then I would resume the job, and the job will pick up from that point onwards. If you want to see a status or a long status of the job that is running, you can run the status command. If you want, auto upgrade creates restore checkpoints. So if you want something goes wrong and you would like to restore the database, then you can ask auto upgrade to restore the database to its old state, which is the GRP state. If multiple database restores have failed and you would like to restore all of them together, you can say restore all failed. If you would like to cancel an ongoing upgrade with a manual intervention, remember I told you the state of an operation could be running, aborted, error, or completed. So if you want to manually intervene and say, oh, hold on, abort that particular upgrade, means I am telling it manually not to go ahead with the upgrade because I remembered something in between. Then I went it, fixed it, and I said resume it now. So I can say resume job number. So aborted jobs can be resumed. And if you want to see the logs location, you can type logs command and it will show you all the logs location for the auto upgrade utility. And at the end of it comes the most interesting part, which I will record in part 2. I call this as upgrade war zone, and there's a reason why I call it, because I am going to upgrade 4 different databases from non-CDB architecture: 11G release 2, 12C release 1, 12C release 2 and 18C databases in a single config file using a single auto upgrade instance. I am going to upgrade all of them in parallel to a 19C version, that to not like a non-CDB to non-CDB. I will convert all the non-CDBs once into pluggable database to version 19C. So that's why the name I chose is Upgrade Warzone. And just to make a meme of it, I picked up PUBG because PUBG is nowadays banned, being a Chinese app with security concern. So I made a tagline: you can ban PUBG, but you cannot ban UPG. UPG stands for the upgrade. So we'll still be upgrading all those older databases into a new version 19C. And you need to do this exercise like a war zone. There's a reason. You can't be sitting idle. November 2020 is a deprecation for or out of support dates for 12.1 and 12.2. So if you have not done the upgrade so far, remember now, you can't be lying on your back any longer. time to get into the war zone. What is the idea? As I said, I'm going to do upgrade of 11240 database. There are certain problems that I deliberately created. So my 11240 database uses a character set which is Western European 8 MS Win 1252 character set. Then I have certain objects lying in my recycle bin. Generally, we don't keep it, but I kept it just because I want to see the auto upgrade can do the recycle bin cleanup as part of the upgrade activity. And then I have database vault is not there, Oracle label security is not there. People say, okay, what's the new thing? Remember back in 11G release 2 days, enabling Oracle data vault or Oracle label security requires you to relink the Oracle binaries, not like what we have in 12.1 and onwards. 12.1 onwards do not require you to relink binaries. That database vault feature is very much part of the binary sets that you get. So I deliberately made sure, well, not deliberately, it never used to be there 11G days, that you by default will never get a data vault and Oracle label security unless you relinked those binaries. So I generally kept it, and I will show you problems because of this when I upgrade the database. In 12.1, which is again a non-CDB, again I used the same character set, the default one, and when I upgrade it to 19C as part of a CDB architecture, my CDB uses AL32 UTF-8, and then it will say, hey, your pluggable database uses a different character set than your CDB, although this is perfectly fine because starting with 12.2, your character set for the container database and the pluggable database could be completely different. It is allowed. So it's not something that you need to be really worried about. The only thing that you need to notice is, so starting with 12C release 2, a PDB can use a different character set than a CDB provided the character set of CDB is AL32 UTF-8. So remember, you can use a different character set for PDB provided the CDB uses the master of all, the superset of all, which is AL32 UTF-8. Then I have 12.2 database, and then I have 18C database. They are again non-CDBs. Then I will run auto upgrade, and at the end of auto upgrade, my CDB as of now will have only root container and the PDB seed template. And at the end of an auto upgrade, all these databases will come and sit as if they are pluggable databases inside my container database. I have deliberately induced some points which I would like to address, like Apex schema. As you know that in 11G, when you create a 11G database, 11204 database, Apex schema gets created of the version 3.2. When you create a vanilla database using DBCA on 12C release 1, automatically Apex schema comes. Even if you don't need it, it will come and sit into the database. The version is 12.2.6 something. But starting from 12.2, then in that case, no Apex schema is installed by default. But if you upgrade your databases as part of the upgrade up to 12.2, Apex schema used to be automatically upgraded. Now starting from 18C, when you do an upgrade to 18C, Apex schema is no longer part of the DB upgrade. So you have to do it before. And I told you what's the reason. Those who have done 12.2 upgrades with Apex schema inside their database, even if they are not using, the Apex schema upgrade takes close to more than 30 minutes. 45 minutes it used to take on my machine. Now imagine, I am doing a critical production upgrade. Apex schema, if I spend 30 to 45 minutes on doing an Apex schema upgrade which I do not use, what's the value that it carries? Nothing. So what Oracle has done, Oracle has changed the directions. Now it says, okay, will not install any Apex schema by default in 12.2 and onwards database. That's point number 1. And from 18C, none of your Apex schemas would be upgraded as part of the DB upgrade process. You have to do it before the DB upgrade happens. And if you feel, oh, I'm not going to use Apex schema, then in that case, as I said, remove the Apex schema if it's not being used. And I'm going to show you two demos. First, I will run through a demo without the pre and post fix up scripts. And then I would run the same demo one more time. I will restore everything back to what it was. And I'm going to show you a second demo where without a manual intervention, everything happens smoothly from start to end. All these databases are upgraded. So somebody said in a layman's term, can you define us what you are going to show us? I said yes. Multiple non-container databases running there. This is the model. And I am going to change this model to this one. Pluggable databases. So a quad cycle. So probably not even quad, it's more than quad, even a quint cycle probably, where there are multiple. So instead of you driving all your individual cycles, non-CDBs, I am going to convert the architecture into this architecture. So thanks for joining in for this session. We are close to a 2 hours window now, and I will see you when I show you the demo in my next session. Thanks for joining in.